Okay, I'm joined on the edge of beautiful Dartmoor by Frank YEO, chairman of the Devon and Cornwall Secretaries Association, Point-to-Point Secretaries Association. Frank, you're the driving force behind the live streaming, which is quite innovative for the sport. What was the spark?
I think it wasn't necessarily what, it was who, and that is Stephen Wensley, who has always, for the last 7 or 8 years, compiled and looked after the area website. And Stephen carried a camera and started live streaming 3-4 years ago. So we had a bit of an idea what reach it could have. So he really sparked it. And then I suppose watching television, racing on television, and seeing within COVID that racing under rules was still going ahead, still supported, and that point-to-pointing was only allowed to, it was stopped for some time and then only allowed to run behind closed doors. So we needed to keep up the exposure, to keep the support we've always had from owners, trainers and jockeys down here in Devon and Cornwall, but also to actually bring what was happening when we held meetings behind closed doors to our regular supporters who couldn't leave their homes, and we felt that there was a need to put a program together.
Okay, so to get live streaming embedded in, it wasn't a bad thing, a bad year to do it really, for the when everybody's forced to watch it from somewhere else.
I think when we look back, we talked last year and said this was going to come in 2 or 3 years' time, and I think probably COVID allowed us to actually do some live performances and prove to ourselves that we could technically present this from remote locations without much infrastructure. And we gradually built a team and proved to ourselves that we could actually cover a whole meeting and present that to the live streaming public.
Okay, then when did you do a sort of a survey of the demographic of your viewers, and was it a surprise what you found?
Yes, I think that we found we had some very good supporters who started to view live streaming and continued through the whole of the season. We were disappointed in the overall number, but I think when you analyse who watched it, we certainly filled the gap for people, older people in the area and outside of the area who were being shielded because of COVID, but also and didn't want to get involved. Maybe they had 1-2 vaccinations but still didn't want to go to the meetings, and those were very loyal supporters of the live stream. The other 2 or 3 groups that we saw coming through were connections to horses. As things turned out, we had several horses that came from outside of the area with longer distances, and we found that connections, owners, syndicate owners and jockey families were following what we were doing and became regular attenders on the live stream.
What's the general feedback you got from the viewers?
Generally good. Initially, there were the usual critics who compared us to Channel 4 racing, and I think that was probably to be expected. But what we found was that as the season evolved, we got better at what we did in the presentation and technically. And we finished up by getting some really good press coverage and some good emails and messages from people that were watching it to keep going and to continue developing what we started.
And how about from the wider point-to-point scene in general? Did they sort of sit up and take notice of what you were doing?
Yeah, I think they did. I think we had the Racing Post correspondent following us quite regularly, several correspondents from the centre of the country, seeing what we were doing down here in the West Country. And at the end of the season, we had some very good comments in a summary at the end that we'd broken some new ground, and we felt that we've achieved what we set out to do.
And you still believe that there's a demand and a need for it now that hopefully the epidemic is behind us, the pandemic, I should say?
I think we're looking medium term, and yes, the indications from certain quarters are that they would like us to develop what we're doing here. We've learnt from the lessons that maybe there aren't huge numbers that are going to follow live streaming, but it's a very valued information service for people that are within the industry, have horses and looking for courses to run horses. It opened it up to several new trainers and owners who came down to Devon and Cornwall last year who'd never been before. So we feel that that's one benefit that we are achieving. Secondly, we're looking at what other sports are doing, and many have started live streaming last year and continued to do so. And we feel it's for the same reason as they're doing it, in that you need to actually promote your sport to a much wider audience. What we're finding is that a lot of younger people are using their phones, and this media is ideal for downloading promotional clips and previews, reviews of the race meeting, but also watching on the day. And we really have to look forward to attracting younger people into the sport to be participants, but also younger people who can come and support, not just watching online, but actually coming on the day and supporting the meeting itself.
So is that something you hope that part of the live stream is going to do, is to get people from watching it to actually come in and making the plunge into the sort of live experience?
Exactly. It's two steps. First of all, we need to actually show them what our sport is all about. We've got a very exciting, all action-packed sport that many people have never actually been close to see what happens. They watch racing on television. Point of Pointing has a special atmosphere of the crowd and of the buzz that's there. And that's what we find we're able to do through the presentation that we have. We want to attract people to look at that and say, yeah, let's go and see. Let's get our friends together. And we've actually achieved that. There have been people that watch live streaming and then come at the end of the season and said, we really didn't realise what your sport was all about. So yes, that's the two steps that we need to take.
And one of the most impressive things, and I thought it was quite impressive, was you said that you weren't Channel 4 racing or ITV racing, but you got Cornelius Lysaght, and that's a big name. How on earth did you manage to get Cornelius down to Devon in the field?
Well, again, Stephen Wensley does a lot of research and has had the information to his knowledge that Cornelius used to be the voice of racing for BBC, and we thought, wouldn't it be good if we could get someone like that to head it? We knew we needed someone with experience of interviewing and summarising what was happening and create the atmosphere. Yeah, a well-worded email seemed to attract his attention. Cornelius, his experience, he had been to Point of Points in Devon and Cornwall many years ago with an old friend of his. He'd been to Bratton Down and enjoyed the experience when he came. And he's taken to it really well. He understands how it works, which is important. The thing I like about Cornelius, he puts a lot of research into the day before. He arrives at the course, he walks every course, he meets. We have a team of 12 people. He works with all 12 people, technical teams and the presenter teams, and it's a one-to-one with him. When he does an interview, he really is knowledgeable about the person he's interviewing, and he makes them feel comfortable. He gets the best out of them. So for me, I think there's nobody better than Cornelius to be able to help us develop this.
Now, you said that last year you sort of developed things as it went along. Is there anything this year that people that subscribed last year, they're going to notice it's new and innovative that you've sort of progressed with for this season?
Yeah, two things. Our presenter team is being strengthened, and Robert Cooper is joining Cornelius. We've a total of 24. We lost lottery, so 23. We're hoping that all of those meetings will allow us to come there. We may finish up with not quite so many, but between them, Cornelius and Robert are going to lead the presentation of each fixture. So presenter-wise, you'll see a change in face at different presentations. Technically, we've made quite big steps with Pierce's, who are our PA and technical support team. They've invested into a control unit which sets up our program director, who can control shots from up to 8 cameras. And some of those cameras are the very new type of camera, 360-degree cameras that are placed remotely on the course. We don't have to have 8 cameramen. We can do this with about 3 cameramen because the remotes are controlled from the control unit. You can pinpoint onto the leading horses. It follows them around, and you can zoom in, zoom out on leading horses. You can pan back out and cover the whole of the field. So what we're looking to show is much closer action than we have been from just one race camera. And I think this is going to create a lot more atmosphere in watching what we're doing. It won't be Channel 4, but it's along the same lines as they're doing at some of the very good Racing Under Rules presentations that they do.
Okay, now last year you had a 5-minute delay. Is that technical, or is there a reason behind that?
No, that's a BHA regulation. They're aware of off-course betting, and that integrity rules demand that we run our meetings 5 minutes with a 5-minute delay.
Okay, now are you offering sort of recordings of the meetings and the interviews for sale? Can people buy them if they can't tune in and watch it? Watch it on the internet.
Yes, we are. First of all, you can, if you missed the meeting itself, you can watch a full recording up until the Tuesday midday following the meeting. Then it will be sent to Weatherby's, and they have access to the information that we have. Secondly, we have Jeff Guyett as our race cameraman. He does videos, and you can buy them on the course or after. And we're providing USB sticks, which will be presented to the winning jockeys on the day, but also we could link those with the interviews as well. So if a jockey wins a race and wants to see the interview afterwards as well as the race, then we can put a package together for them as well.
Okay, now some of that, I was lucky enough to be at some of those meetings, and some of the most competitive and widely contested with the pony racing that you had on before. Now, are you going to be covering some of that?
We are indeed. We have 10 pony races within our full program, starting I think not until February and running right through till June. Certainly the last one at Brattonor makes a total of 10. Last year there was huge enthusiasm from the pony racing fraternity to come down. I think we ran 4 meetings down here, and they were 10. We had to ballot out some of the horses that were entered. So we had huge support for the competitors and participants. Cornelius also interviewed several of the winning jockeys and mothers who were helping on the day, but there was great support for the live streaming from families who maybe didn't come, and they were some of the best supporters of buying our videos after the meeting that we had on the day.
Okay, and that could be a good future income stream, and one of those young people that won on their ponies is champion jockey in 10 years' time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, you've mentioned you've got Cornelius Lysaght, you've got a professional team, you've got all these cameras, you've got to get everything everywhere. So how do you fund all this?
Well, we're in a development stage year where we last year we averaged 125 viewers per meeting, and we're hoping to do the same again this year. We have slightly increased the cost from £10 basic cost to £12, but our costs have gone up. Last year, the teams, several of them, supported for little or no reward. Everybody pulled to and did everything at a very low cost or no cost. This year, we've got everyone's support in the production and the technical team to actually support it for a reasonable cost. But that in total, for every meeting, comes to around about £2,500. So we are looking to raise about half of that from the viewers, and then half of it from a number of income streams. So first of all, we have a very good regional benefactor in the Totnes and Bridgetown Racing Company, who last year supported what we were doing and bought and allowed us to buy some equipment. This year they've contributed £4,000 at the beginning of the season to get us started. So that's our first income stream. Second, we have a package for some of our regular live streaming attendees in buying a package for the whole of the season of £75 for a season ticket, and we call those people angels. We're selling 40 of those, and at the moment we're about halfway through the sales of those, and that's helping us to fund some of the early meetings as well.
Okay, and of course you've got the residual benefits because of recordings and are going to be sold. You're looking for sponsors.
We are indeed, yes. We're looking for sponsors later on in the season, regional sponsors where we can promote what they do in the region. We've got a great region for tourism, for farming, and a lot of people who are in areas outside of the Midlands. A lot of people like to come down here and spend some time down in the West Country. So we're looking at industries that support those types of sectors. We're looking at advertising on the live stream. We're innovating some spinning logos coming in as we present everything. We're looking at working with the fixtures, with new sponsors, but banners are in the paddock, and we're also looking to support and the sponsors that sponsor the day as well. So those are, the whole package that we're looking at is helping to give people much more exposure.
Okay, and you mentioned that there's a delay because of betting, illegal betting, off course, etc. But can people bet into the point-to-point betting ring watching this?
Yes, they can. It's not that straightforward, but last year there were a number of people that knew they had horses running and could deposit some money with the bookmakers, and then they could contact them over the telephone and place that bet during the day. We also had people doing the same at Dunsmore last week. A few people had a bet. So yes, it's possible if you want to watch on the live stream and then bet during the day.
Okay, what's your ultimate goal or vision for the live streaming going forward?
What we would like to see in the next 2-3 years is this being developed and having a solid audience of people across the board. People from the region who can't get to the meeting, that know that they can watch it and can look in and just see one race or the whole of the meeting. We're looking at giving support to all of those who own and train horses, that not all the team can get there. Jockeys, families, syndicates who can watch what we're doing, but we want to use it to promote the sport to more people. What we're seeing happening with other sports is that there is a lot of live streaming exposure on your phone. We need to get this as an established sport that people can look at during the week. They can plan their weekends, they can see some action, and then decide that we're going to go and we're going to support and go on the day.
Okay, Frank, so that's my questions. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think we'd just like to explain what we're doing to everyone. We need everyone's support this year. It is a critical year for us. We're building on what we did last year. We have a very high quality team for presentation of what we do, but also technically in what we do. And they work well as a team. We need to see them grow. We need people who like our sport to get in behind what we're doing, go away with positive views of what we're doing, and spread the word. Promote what we're doing through the whole of the country. We see this as maybe a bedrock for the way in which this can be developed through the rest of the country, through the south of England, through the Midlands, through the north, with pointing. And I think once we get that established over the next 2-3 years, then it will be a great support for our sport.
Okay, Frank, I'm sure everybody wishes you all the success, and thanks very much for taking your time out to explain it all to us.
It's great. Okay, thanks.